Emily now stars in Young and Hungry and performs as a singer-songwriter. She lives in Los Angeles and continues balancing music with acting. Bella, now 26, runs several businesses, directs films, and stars in indie projects. She lives in Miami and often draws attention for her bold fashion and creative control. Jennifer is now 31 and works as a registered nurse in Texas. She balances her healthcare career with occasional acting and co-hosts a podcast about her Disney journey. At 41, Ryan lives in Oklahoma and acts in thrillers and made-for-TV films. He enjoys a quiet life with his family and stays active in independent cinema. Kyle is 32 and has focused on music, digital content, and short films. He lives in Los Angeles and maintains a small but loyal following from his Disney days. Now 38, Ricky performs in theater and plays in a New York-based indie band. He leads a low-profile creative life, far from his former teen heartthrob status. Joey is now 27, based in Los Angeles, and works as a stand-up comedian and actor. He frequently tours, performs live comedy, and appears in Netflix comedies and podcasts. Carolyn, now 28, made a rare switch to politics. She served as a White House press assistant and currently lives in Washington, D.C., away from the spotlight of Hollywood. David is 52 and still works steadily as an actor and director. He lives in Los Angeles and often appears in family-friendly films and teaches acting workshops. Phil is now 56 and works mainly as a television director. He's based in California and directs episodes for major sitcoms while occasionally making guest appearances. Mateo, now 28, shifted from acting to music under the name Teo. He's based in Los Angeles and frequently collaborates with alternative and Latin music artists. At 38, Tiffany lives in Arkansas with her husband and kids. She stepped away from Hollywood and now works in Christian radio and faith-based media. G is now 25, based in California, and works as an entrepreneur and digital artist. She also occasionally acts and runs a popular nail art brand. Davis is now 22 and has focused on education and streaming. While no longer acting regularly, he connects with fans through social media and gaming platforms. Naomi, now 31, lives in London and stars in global blockbusters like Aladdin. She balances acting with music and charity work in the UK. Rainey is 30 and works behind the scenes in animation and voice acting. She lives in Los Angeles and continues to support diversity in family entertainment. Kevin is now 60 and still performs in Broadway musicals. He lives in New York City, shares uplifting content on TikTok, and directs theater productions nationwide. Roshan is 32 and based in Los Angeles. He produces music independently, acts occasionally, and remains active in the dance and DJ scene. Tiffany is now 25 and lives in California. She acts in faith-based films, holds a college degree in political science, and speaks at youth events. Jason is 32 and active on Twitch, where he streams games and chats with fans. He lives in California and occasionally returns to acting in indie films. Ryan, now 27, works in music and voice acting. He's still based in California and often appears at fan events and podcast interviews. Bradley is now 25 and attends college in California. He acts occasionally and keeps a low-key presence online, mostly interacting with longtime fans. Raven is 31 and stars in dramas and independent films. She lives in Georgia, recently welcomed a daughter, and advocates for body positivity and mental health. Karan is 25, lives in Los Angeles, and acts in indie films and series. He also advocates for mental health awareness and inclusion in the industry. Piper is now 26 and works as both an actress and singer. She's active in theater, writes original music, and often shares personal stories with fans online. Demi is now 31 and lives in California. They tour internationally, host a podcast, and often speak publicly about wellness, recovery, and identity. Zendaya is now 27, a two-time Emmy winner and global fashion icon. She leads major hits like Euphoria and Dune, and splits time between Los Angeles and Europe. Now 32, Greg continues acting in romantic comedies and thrillers. Based in Los Angeles, he also works with lifestyle brands and frequently connects with fans online. Orlando is now 36 and living in Texas. Once known for That's So Raven, he stepped back from acting and focused on personal life and music projects. Madison is 26 and active in film and modeling. After Disney's Cory in the House, she transitioned into more mature roles and often appears at red carpet events. Debbie is now 31 and lives in Los Angeles. She's still acting and also plays in the band The Never Ending with her husband Josh Dunn. Kelly is 28 and stars in the wrestling drama Heels. She's moved away from Disney and now appears in darker, action-heavy roles. Leland is 39 and continues to work in TV and comedy. After Andy Mack, she became an advocate for Asian American voices in entertainment. Cole is now 31 and stars in indie films and fashion campaigns. He lives in California and often shares behind-the-scenes photography on social media. Dylan co-owns a brewery in Brooklyn and acts in smaller films. He's currently engaged and enjoys a quieter life away from the spotlight. Brenda is 35 and engaged to actor Macaulay Culkin. She still acts and raises their son while living mostly outside the Hollywood spotlight. Hillary lives in Los Angeles with her husband and kids. She stars in How I Met Your Father and runs her own beauty brand. Raven still acts and recently returned in Raven's Home. She's married and hosts a podcast about growing up in the industry. Zach now stars in action and travel documentaries. He lives part-time in Australia and keeps a much lower profile than during his Disney days. Vanessa acts in romantic comedies and runs a wellness brand. She recently married MLB player Cole Tucker and splits time between LA and New York. Ashley now works as a producer and runs a wellness brand. She lives in California with her family and occasionally returns to voice acting. Mitchell makes music and appears at fan conventions. While less active in Hollywood, he maintains a strong Disney fan following. Jake, now 26, acts in smaller films and digital comedies. He lives in California and shares behind-the-scenes content and skits through YouTube and Instagram. Moises acts in indie films and has a strong interest in photography. He often collaborates with fashion brands and avoids the spotlight. David is now a director, father of 3, and close friends with Selena Gomez. He still appears in film and TV on occasion. Jake moved into voice acting and starred briefly in The Fosters. These days he keeps a lower profile and stays active on social media. Ross is now the lead singer of the Driver era. He also stars in Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and tours with his band worldwide. Laura writes and produces her own music. She's active on TikTok and recently launched an independent record label. China appears in superhero shows and performs with her sisters as part of a music group. She's also a vocal advocate for mental health awareness. Now 27, Leo lives in California and works as both an actor and director. He recently directed episodes of Legacies and continues acting in TV dramas and action series. Adam is now 31 and living in Nevada. He returned to music and film, focusing on rebuilding his creative career while also writing and performing as a solo artist. At 31, Bridget stepped away from acting and earned degrees from MIT and Harvard. She now works in tech and recently launched a startup focused on satellite-based communication. Allison is now 30 and lives in Los Angeles. They work as a voice actor, dancer, and mental health advocate and often speak at events and on social media platforms.